Welcome to the Diet Starts Never podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Nigro, aka Coach Rach. This podcast will teach you how to live your healthiest life in and out of the gym and put yourself first again. Oh, and we get long-lasting results here. I've made it my mission to help my clients ditch the diet mentality and heal their relationship with food and themselves. After transforming hundreds of bodies and minds, it's your turn. Are you ready? Episode 2. You guys, I have to be honest with you, podcasting is overwhelming. I have so much information I want to provide for you guys, and I'm finding it difficult to get my words in order. So bear with me while I find my way in all of this. So on today's episode, we are talking about cardio. If that word doesn't make you cringe a little bit, then bless your soul. If it does, then I'm going to shed some light on it in this episode. How many times have you said, oh man, I just ate so much, I need to do some extra cardio this week to burn it off? Or better yet, how many times have you held onto the elliptical or stairs for dear life, trying to stay on as long as possible in hope to lose more weight? Yeah, puke central. That's freaking miserable. And one thing we can all say about cardio is that when you want to lose weight, you have to do it, right? I mean, it's not wrong, but it may be making your weight loss more difficult and in fact aiding to your weight gain. So on today's episode, why doing hours of cardio makes you gain weight, we're going to cover. We're going to learn about the different heart rate zones for training, why there is such thing as too much cardio. We'll go over some cardio facts and how you should be implementing it. And as always, I'll hook you up with some action steps. So a reminder, if you haven't listened to episode 1 already, I suggest you go do it right now because I teach you terminology in there and I'm kind of going in a certain order for each episode to give you guys the best education on all of these topics. So, having intense cardio sessions every workout will make you gain weight in the long run. Doing cardio, especially high-intensity cardio, increases your total daily energy expenditure and puts additional stress on your body. So, I'm going to use an example, and don't come at me, guys, but my example is going to be Orange Theory. So, it is an amazing workout, an amazing company. I think it does great things, and I think the motivation and the community factor behind it is incredible. But doing that type of intense workout, every workout, is way too much stress on your body. OTF uses heart rate monitoring, which is so freaking cool, and encourages you to spend most of your workout in the higher orange and red heart rate zones, which are the most intense zones where you burn the most calories. It sounds amazing in theory, and yes, you lose weight quickly when starting the class, but as soon as you stop doing that intense cardio every workout, you usually gain the weight back and then some. So those high intensity workouts are not ideal for sustainable fat loss or for sustainable living, realistically. Not for every single workout session, at least. So the amount you burn in those classes increase your total daily energy expenditure, which puts you in a massive, unhealthy calorie deficit unless you adjust your calories accordingly, increase them. And in return, you lose weight fast, but the second you stop doing all that cardio, you gain it back because your body has adapted and it needs that intensity to keep the weight off. I'm going to circle back to this in a little bit. Just to be clear, never ever hating on OTF. I'm just providing you guys with the science. So to truly understand why intense hours of cardio is not the right answer for your weight loss, you need to understand the heart rate zones. There are 5 zones, and you burn a different amount of calories in each heart rate zone, and they each have a different purpose. So to keep the confusion as minimal as possible, we're going to break the 5 zones into 2-ish categories. You have your fat burning zones and your carb burning zones. I want you to think of them as another 80-20 rule. 80% of your time, I want you spending it in those fat burning zones. And then 20% of the time, we are in those carb burning zones. Don't worry, we will explain. So you want to spend majority of your training time in that fat burning zone, because we're going to train your body to be a fat burning machine this way. We want to spend that minimal time, training time, less than 20%, in your carb burning zones. Carbs are your energy source, and if you spend too much time in these carb burning zones, you will train your body to burn energy, not fat, which in return will add more stress to your body and leave you feeling more exhausted. Let's talk about each specific zone. I'm gonna go over the benefits of each, what it feels like when you're in it, and finally how much time you should spend in each zone. So zone 1, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. You're basically here anytime you're moving and grooving on the reg. This is a recovery zone. It's a super low intensity. Think of brisk walks. Your heart rate should be easily controlled. When it comes to training, you spend your warm up and your cool down here. Honestly, me recording this podcast, I'm probably in this zone. No, I'm just kidding. But whenever you're moving, when you're cleaning the house, so on. Zone 2. Majority of your time is being spent here when training, because this is the fat burning zone. Should be able to spend a long time in this zone and can sustain it with minimal effort. It should feel like you're a little out of breath, but able to maintain a conversation with your workout buddy. No biggie. We're walking on the treadmill and I'm telling you the tea, but I have to take a couple seconds, a couple breaths of air every couple of seconds. I can almost feel when my body gets into this zone, it's like you have like this relaxed feeling. You feel like definitely a warmth to your body, but I don't know. It's very hard to explain. I think it's more so because I've been doing this for so many years, but the effort just feels natural. It goes from almost a little bit difficult to get into the zone to so smooth. I feel like I can feel the fat burning. No, you can't feel that. This is just me being me. Like, this is how I explain it for myself. Okay. I don't know. I think I forgot to mention zone 1 is a fat burning zone, but zone 1 is a fat burning zone. Zone 3, you get a mix of burning carbs and fats here. You're going to be pushing the pace and putting effort to stay here. I like to think of this zone as the muscle building zone, because this is where you hang out when you're lifting weights during a moderate to heavy set. Convos are definitely reduced to minimal words here, and things are getting spicy. Like, you can maintain a conversation, but in like really quick words, super short sentences, kind of like gasping, not gasping, but you guys get what I'm saying. Okay, zone 4. This should feel freaking hard. This is where you build endurance. This is where you put on some serious effort and where you burn straight carbs. It's still important to be in this zone, but remember, carbs are your energy source. So if we spend all of our time in this zone, it will use energy. You burn energy very quickly when training here. Think HIIT, high intensity interval training. How badly do you want that HIIT interval to be over with? It will help, training in this zone will help your body utilize carbs for energy better, but overuse can lead to chronic stress and weight gain. I say weight gain because of that Orange Theory example I spoke about before, which I will circle back to. Words are barely coming through here. A workout here is no more than 10 to 15 minutes long. Okay, zone 5. Whew. This is really for elite athletes. If you tap into it every once in a while, that's okay, but not necessary. Think like you're freaking sprinting for the gold medal in the Olympics type shit here. Speaking is not an option. You'll probably lay on the floor and die a little inside after an interval here. Everything is on fire. You realistically cannot sustain this for more than a couple of seconds. This is also a carb burning zone. So zones 1 and 2, straight fat burning zones. Zone 3, you're burning a mix of carbs and fats. Zone 4 and 5, straight carb burning zones. So based off of everything I just spoke about, to burn fat, you need to train in your fat burning zones. I know you're probably wondering how to determine these zones. There are tests that can be done to determine your personal heart rate zones, but an estimation is totally fine. I use a calculator for my clients. You can literally Google a heart rate zone calculator. I prefer the Polar one. I think it's the most accurate. I will drop the link in the episode notes. For this one, you need to know your age predicted max heart rate, which is 220 minus your age. So I'm 27. My age predicted max heart rate is 93. I had to think about that for a second. All right, let's take a little dip into a very important topic, cardio and stress. Stress is one of the most overlooked factors when taking cardio into consideration. Believe it or not, cardio can become more of a burden to recovery and increase your stress load. Physical stress is just as harmful as mental stress, and honestly, it plays the same role in your body, and your brain does not know the difference between the two. When figuring out a cardio protocol, you need to take into consideration many things: your step count, sleep quantity, sleep quality, your hydration status, your other training volumes and protocols, your caloric intake, your lifestyle, hormone imbalances, mental and emotional stress. Honestly, the list goes on, but I'm going to stop there. For example, if you're sedentary, you're super low on sleep, and your mental stress is at an all-time high, throwing on another stressor, such as cardio, will not help anything. Other stressors need to be addressed before adding cardio. So I'm going to circle back to that orange theory example. Hence why training in your orange and red zone is too much every workout. If you are always on edge and anxious and stressed, I honestly wouldn't even consider a workout like this. But if you want to get your ass whooped maybe once, twice a week for a HIIT session, heck yeah. I would 100% still prioritize weightlifting over a class like this, but I don't see any reason why you can't do that. All right, we're going to go over some common cardio questions and facts. You burn more calories lifting weight than doing cardio because you're in that fat burning zone. Cardio should never outweigh weight training, and a good rule of thumb is to never exceed 150 minutes of cardio per week. I'm not saying to do 150 minutes, but I would not go over that. A question I always get is, why 10,000 steps per day? There are so many different reasons, but in terms of fat loss, 10K a day is equal to the amount of calories burned to lose 1 pound a week. That is, if you hit 10K a day consistently. Also, it keeps your body moving. It keeps your total daily energy expenditure where it should be for your caloric intake. It's amazing for your heart, and in the long run, decreases mortality. Fasted versus non-fasted cardio. There have been a lot of studies on this, and in terms of fat loss, fasted cardio or training does not increase fat loss any more than being in a calorie deficit does. If you enjoy training fasted, go for it, but you definitely don't need to do it to increase fat loss. I really would make sure to hydrate and replenish accordingly after. If you're training fasted in the morning, you better get your food in as quick as possible after that session before going about your day. Do not skip breakfast after a fasted sesh. All right, so what do we do with this information? How should we proceed moving forward? First, I would assess your current cardio plan as well as your current stress levels and make sure that you are not adding stress by completing frequent high-intensity cardio sessions in high heart rate zones. This goes for training as well. If you're completely breathless and dying during every workout, you need to slow your roll. That is going to do more harm than good in the long run, especially if you're not an experienced lifter or eating correctly. I would make sure that you're spending most time in zone 2 by implementing less cardio. low impact, steady state cardio. This is where you'll burn the most fat. Yes, it takes longer to burn more calories here, and you burn more calories at higher heart rate zones, but you burn calories from fat here, which is what keeps you being a lean, mean, energized machine all the freaking time. And it's also what helps you lose weight in a slow and sustainable way. Remember, losing weight quickly means drastically shocking your body, which means never learning how to sustain that weight loss, and you usually gain it back and then some. Hence why doing hours of cardio can make you gain weight. All right, so how should you start adding in cardio? If you're doing 0 right now or unsure if life stressors are affecting you physically and mentally, I suggest starting light, about 2 to 3, 15 to 20 minute sessions per week, but weightlifting should still be your main focus. All right, I think this episode was quite literally the explanation of train smarter, not harder. So just to reiterate a bit, we want to spend majority of our time in those fat burning zones. Zones 1 and 2 are our sweet spot. Zone 2 is where we do our cardio. Zone 3 is where we get our weightlifting in. Zone 4 is when we do that high intensity interval training once, maybe twice a week. Not too much time on that. So in 2 weeks, I have a fire mindset episode for you guys, all about why and how your mindset is failing you in your fitness journey. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, if you learned something, please subscribe and share with a friend. Have an awesome freaking day.